Good afternoon. I am calling the March 5th, 2026 meeting of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors to order. The time is 3 p.m. Board, the first thing is the approval of our agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, before we approve the agenda, I got a request.
Okay.
On the consent agenda, item C and D, I'd like explanation on item C and D. If we can get that before the meeting's over, we can move them down toward the end of the agenda.
Well, if it's okay with the rest of the board, we will just pull them from the consent agenda and act on those separately right after the rest of the consent agenda.
Fine with me.
All right. So is that acceptable to your motion, Mr. Adams?
Yes, I move that we approve the agenda with the proposed changes.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda with the changes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. If you would, please rise. Join me in the invocation by Mr. Pugh, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Campbell.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today to ask for your guidance, your wisdom, and your knowledge as we traverse this tough budget cycle. We ask that you protect each and every one that is here, protect our EMTs, our sheriff's deputies, and all those that serve our county. We ask that you also protect and help those that are overseas serving in the military. Dear Lord, we ask these things in your name, Jesus. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to citizen comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you come forward and state your name and district, please, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Mark Labadie. I'm in District 2. I had mentioned to the board in the past, I'm just going to refresh these things without going over them at great length, but one being that, well, let me preface this with, I'm not so hell-bent on being against EDA per se. I'm highly opposed to the county being involved in real estate procurement, development, ownership, and land leasing. So on that premise, we had this gateway project that cost the citizens $300,000 in interest payment on a loan that was never utilized, and I believe you all gave the $2.5 million back to the lender. And so where I come from, I'm a former businessman. I may not look like it, but basically, when you enter into a contract with somebody, you enter into it possibly with having some contingency clauses relative to performance or lack of performance and penalties therein. This individual that entered into that gateway project, or let's call it a private business enterprise, might not be an individual, that business left the, they did not fulfill their obligation. So by not fulfilling their obligation, they should have been held liable for paying that $300,000 interest payment. I believe that they weren't. I believe that they just walked away and the citizens got to bite that bullet. I'll address a little bit more later with regard to some other incidences, but I do want to talk specifically about going into the past, the Lowe's. I believe Lowe's is either a Fortune 500 or maybe a Fortune 50 company. When they came here to this county, we had a Kmart there. That Kmart, for demolition purposes, cost $900,000 that the county so generously gave a credit to Lowe's, a Fortune 50 or 500 company, for that $900,000. The citizens of Amherst County paid for that demolition for Lowe's. Then, to add insult to injury, for 15 years afterwards, Lowe's was rebated well in excess of $100,000 per year, again, from citizens' taxpayers' dollars. We need to stop this growth management purchasing of real estate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that one on? That one's not on. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And board, if you would recall, we have removed items C and D. So is there a motion on A, B, E, and F?
Motion to approve.
There is a motion on the floor by Ms. Tucker to approve A, B, E, and F. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Those pass. Okay, Mr. Campbell, what are your questions concerning C and D?
I would like further explanation of what they are. It's vague. Let's see here.
Sheriff to come up.
That would be good. Bear with me, Sheriff. All down through here, it has different items that these amounts that are being requested for. I mean, they're vague, like professional services, repair, maintenance, furniture, fixture repair. I would like to have something a little bit more in detail.
The repair and maintenance, there were a lot of things that needed to be done in the building to improve, painting and
We
some
had some
other repairs.
painting and whatnot done, and rather than come back to you all and ask for additional appropriations to do that, we used some fine revenues to do that.
So this is all maintenance on the building?
Correct.
Okay.
Professional services, the majority of that was Motorola, which is your body cameras and your in-car cameras.
Okay.
It's data storage. We've got data storage from Motorola, which are the in-car cameras from years past that we have to maintain and archive. Well, when it's in the cloud, you have to pay the maintenance fees on. We're trying to eliminate some
Sheriff,
of
can you
that.
speak into the mic so people on
Is it
YouTube
on?
can hear? Thank you.
The Motorola fees are for the data maintenance that is required that we keep from the in-car cameras, and it has to be kept for quite a few years. We follow the guidelines with the Library of Virginia as to when we can expunge that, but until it meets that time, you have to
Okay.
pay the maintenance storage on it,
Youth organization. I know
all programs.
we had put in our budget for youth organization. Is this one organization that we've already funded?
That you all fund, I think, like $2,500. We had assisted the youth groups too with fine revenues, helping them. And actually, Ms. Tucker asked, I believe it was last year, if we were going to help the youth groups, and they did reach out and ask for some help because it was like $7,000 to recondition the helmets for one of the football programs. So that's what that was for. Is to
And
help.
that's not a budgeted item. We don't have any funds available from the budget in that item. That is strictly funded from fine revenue.
This 5,000,
Yes,
Correct.
right? This is for Monellison.
it was for the.
Bruin.
I believe it was it
Bruin.
was either Amherst football. I don't have any of the
For
paperwork.
football.
Yep.
And dues, 20,000.
Contract for Vance.
Yes, that was one of the officers that we hired that was already certified, and he was with another agency and under contract. So we bought his contract out rather than, because it costs to put an officer through 6 months of training. You're paying salaries, you're paying equipment and whatnot. And so we looked at the way, whether it was to hire a green officer with no experience, put him through the academy, we're able to hire him, and within about 3 weeks, put him right in the street and not, so that's what we did. We bought that contract out.
And that's a portion of what it would normally cost?
On the cost, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Police supplies.
That was the $45,000.
Yeah.
That was for ammo, and we had to upgrade quite a few of our in-office computers.
They would, a
Okay.
lot of the computers at the desk in the office were not Windows compatible anymore. Now I'm totally computer illiterate, but they just they had reached their life expectancy,
I
and
think
we
I think
upgraded.
it was about 20 that we purchased, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Equipment,
That 73,000 is for the tasers. It's a 4-year contract, I believe, on that, and we pay $73,000 a year on that out of fund revenue. We got the tasers last year.
We got the tasers, and they offered a program every year, and I came before the board and asked. It was like, I don't remember, somewhere 280 or 300,000 because all the tasers were far beyond their lifespan. Some of them the officers had, some didn't. So the board was in agreement, and that's what we just make that payment every year to taser for 4 years, I think, was it? And they will be paid for.
and the last one, a motor vehicle.
We took $10,000 out of fund revenue to go towards the payment on a forerunner for our narcotics division. 10,000 of it came from fund revenue. And so it's 20 from drug asset fund, and then the remainder came from ICE funds.
We have a drug officer that is 287G certified as well, that serves on the State Police Task Force. So that's what we, from fine revenue, federal money, and drug asset funds to purchase that vehicle for him.
Now, is this the one from Bedford?
The,
The guy, your officer?
No.
No, okay. I've heard good things about him. Next is the item D, $100,000 from motor vehicles.
And that is ICE funds. We got our officers credentialed to assist ICE agents. They gave us $100,000 to go toward motor vehicle.
Okay. And I guess equipment, same thing.
Same thing with the equipment. They give us a certain amount per officer. The equipment is only to be used for these officers,
Okay.
so it's specialized equipment.
How many officers do you have?
26, 7, somewhere along there that we've had certified.
Okay.
They've gone through the training, federal training.
All right. Thank you, too.
All right.
Okay, is there a motion on items C and D?
So moved.
Motion on the floor, Mr. Adams. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving items C and D, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right, moving on to a special presentation on Mill Creek Lake Sculling Camp, and that is a Mr. Troy Howell. Come forward.
If there's anyone else here from Sweetbriar that also wanted to be part of this presentation, now's your time.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Troy Howell, and I'd like to bring sculling and rowing to Amherst County. Rowing and sculling are all over Albemarle County, a number of programs, high school, college.
Hal, can you speak in the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, as I was saying, I'd like to bring sculling and rowing to Amherst County. Rowing and sculling are all over Albemarle County. They're all over Northern Virginia. They're all over the Norfolk area. And last fall, I got to talking to Sweetbriar a little bit about their pond and the possibility of holding some sculling camps there. And we moved forward with that. But as you may know, the pond at Sweetbriar College is relatively small, and it's great for starting people out, and a little more space is needed to run a full-blown camp. So what we've done is set up 5 camps in June. The first 2 days of those camps will be at Sweetbriar College on their pond, and the second 2 days will be at Mill Creek Lake. Now, single sculling it's the foundation of rowing in all boat classes from single through 8, but the great advantage of the single is that you only have to gather 1 person in order to do it rather than 9. So it's the most immediately accessible form of rowing and sculling, and it's also the one that is foundational in that if you can't row a single, you probably can't row a 4 or an 8 as well as you think. It's a bit like saying, I'd like to be in an orchestra, but I can't play an instrument yet. So I'm going to bring some single sculling camps to Amherst County this summer. This is what one looks like at Craftsbury in Vermont, where I have worked for the last 20 years. We start our camps every morning with a dock talk, somebody in a single giving a bit of a lecture and demonstration, and then we go out for the remainder of the camp's activity. Now, this all started back in about, for me anyway, in 1984, I was watching the Olympic single sculling final on television at my brother's house, and I had never seen it before. And I remember remarking to my brother when the race was over, I said, you know, those boats are pretty cool. And he thought that I was interested in immediately acquiring one, and he went to the expense and all of that sort of thing. And I said, no, I just meant what I said. And 42 years later, very, very little has changed about that. I still think those boats are pretty cool. Now, what we have here is a beginning sculler. This young lady was at St. Margaret's School in Tappahannock last year. As you see her, she's only been in a boat 4 or 5 times, and she's learning to stand up in the boat. And that's, for a lot of people, that I don't even want to try that. That looks way too tippy. It's not the boats that are tippy, it's the people in them until they are not. And once you gain confidence, you can do things like that. And she is gaining confidence as you see her there. So, the team boat expression of rowing and sculling, the ultimate team boat expression is the 8. And what you see here is last year's St. Margaret's girls. All of them know how to row singles, and we have put them in an 8 to compete at the Occoquan Reservoir up in Fairfax. I hope this video will play. This is an 8 doing a drill, and this is what it looks like when it's done reasonably well. I've always liked the sound of it. And I had one more slide that I meant to add, but I did not. Immediately after they did this drill, these guys were so proud of themselves that they did it one last time, and the fellow in the bow seat there at the far left side of your screen at the end of the drill kind of tossed his oar handle up in the air in joy, and it came back and almost knocked him out of the boat. So the sport will humble you as quickly as it gives you confidence. And I did not mean to play that again. Maybe that's the last slide. If that is indeed the last slide, then I believe my presentation is at an end. But I look forward to being out on Mill Creek and bringing some sculling to Amherst County. I did have 2 more slides. It's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Wait, whoa.
I'll leave.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howe, I mean, I didn't know anything about sculling until maybe a couple months ago when I had the pleasure of meeting you and your wife through some friends of mine at Sweetbriar. And I was really interested in, one, the parental support that this sport has, and also the amount of scholarships that these students receive. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the parental support is enormous, as it is in an awful lot of youth sports. You know, the rowing community tends to be relatively affluent people because the equipment involved in the sport is relatively expensive. That being said, Title IX has resulted in the exponential growth of rowing on the women's side in college, and presently there are 49 Division III programs. And obviously, those don't offer scholarships because they're small colleges, but they do offer preferential admissions. And I believe there are now 97 Division I programs in the United States. Very few states do not have at least 2 Division I women's rowing programs. So it's a very popular sport, and there are opportunities for scholarships to college and preferential admissions to college.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about it because when you're doing these camps, obviously, the parents will be coming, they'll be eating in our restaurants, they'll be renting, Airbnbs or Elston Inn or wherever, but revenue will be coming to this county, and we really appreciate your effort.
Well, if I can go back to my first slide here, that picture was taken at the Craftsbury. I'd like to go to full screen. How do I do that? That picture is at the Craftsbury Outdoor Center in Vermont, and we run 34 sculling camps a summer up there. And in an average summer, we have 900 guests come through and do our program, and most of them bring their families, and it's an enormous boon to that community. Craftsbury is a very small town. It's about 1,500 people, and the county is not that much bigger. It's Vermont, and there's only 700,000 people in the whole state. But yes, it's a good thing. Anyone else?
Board? So I've got a couple questions. So I saw somewhere in your presentation that was provided to us that you're looking to use Stonehouse Lake and Mill Creek Lake.
Stonehouse and Mill Creek are the two lakes that are potentially big enough and calm enough to use for sculling camps.
Okay. So I don't have an issue with it, but it's also open to other recreational activities, both lakes. So I'm guessing you're going to put these sculling craft out there and go in a straight line, right? Well,
Yes.
What happens if there are fishermen? How do you deal with that on a public lake?
Well, there's an established traffic pattern set up, and we'll drop a couple of buoys, one at each end of where we want them to limit themselves to, and it's usually a counterclockwise traffic pattern. And there will also be a coach boat with out there primarily for safety and to coach the athletes and to videotape the athletes. And I have an electric outboard that will keep up with the scullers without producing noise and exhaust and all of that sort of thing. Historically, across the country, the sculling and rowing get along pretty well with fishermen. You just have to steer around one another and let them know you're there.
And last question, I noticed that, and I'm sure it's just part of the sport, but none of the participants have PFDs on.
That's correct, and in all 50 states, in all 50 states, it's the law that the boat and oars are considered a flotation device as long as they're accompanied by a coach. The number one safety rule in rowing and sculling is if anything happens, you stay with the boat. You capsize, you stay with the boat, and there's always somebody there to rescue you.
And you being in your craft with the electric motor is the coach.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
So is there any kind of motion needed, or was this just for information? Oh, okay. Board, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion, I don't have the verbiage in front of me. I make a motion that we give the sculling crew at permission to use Mill Creek Lake with all of the non-gas motor and flotation device plans that the speaker here has enumerated.
I think you're adding provided all local, state, and federal
Yes,
regulations
that's
and laws. are met.
exactly. Thank you.
Board, is there any discussion on Ms. Tucker's motion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In further answer to your last question, the maximum number of boats that we'll have on the water at any time will be 7. So it's a fairly small operation.
Thank you very much.
Cooperate with locals.
Okay, Board, moving on to old business, the fiscal year 27 operating budget, capital improvement plan, solid waste fund adoption, and tax rate adoption. Mr. Bryant.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. Want to first thank you as the board and our staff and our outside agencies that have worked with us for this budget process. It's been a long process. I'm reminded when I look at the budget calendar, we actually started the budget process October the 8th. So we've been working on this fiscal year budget for that long. And so there's a lot of people that contribute and a lot of people that do this to make it right. Special thanks to Ms. Morgan and all the hard work she's done this year. She's been a rock star and has done so many great things. So what's before you is the FY27 county operating budget that includes the school, the CIP, opioid, and the solid waste fund. Those were presented at a public hearing conducted on April the 21st, which is required by state law, which we did. The board may now adopt the budgets and the CIP. Attached, there are resolutions as presented that will implement all of the elements of the budget decisions. There are 5 resolutions in front of you. The first one is the general fund budget resolution. The second one is the school budget resolution, followed by the solid waste budget, the tax rate adoption, and the opioid budget resolution. As mentioned, a copy of the proposed budget's public hearing presentation is included in the board packet review. This presentation describes which CIP items are included in this budget and whether they're either cash payments or financing. It also includes the list of items which are not included for this year. That is all that I have. Is there any questions for staff?
Okay. Board, is there any questions for Mr. Bryant? What I would propose is that possibly take some of the easier ones first, like the opioid and solid waste budget resolutions. Is that acceptable? Mm-hmm. All right. On the opioid budget resolution, I believe there was an error in the resolution that it should state 14R opioid abatement, and I think it says what, land?
Solid waste budget.
Solid waste. So is there a motion on adopting that with the amendments?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt resolution number 2026-14R with the amendment.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. That motion passes. Moving on to the solid waste budget resolution. Is there any questions on that one? If not, is there a motion?
Well, Mr. Chair, the only thing I want for clarity on the solid waste, when it comes to the user fees, there's no proposal. I don't see Mr. Lombardo. Is Jeremy here? No. There's no proposed increases for user fees or tipping fees. Is that correct, Jeremy?
That's correct.
All right, so based on that information, Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion that we approve resolution number 2026-12-R for the solid waste.
Motion on,
Budget.
thank you, Mr. Adams. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. That motion passes. All right, moving on to the general budget resolution. Board, what's your questions for Mr. Bryant?
Chairman, I don't have a question for Mr. Bryant. I would like to say something.
Okay, very good.
Okay. In 2016, the Board of Supervisors adopted a resolution that pays the EDA 1 penny per $100 of tax assessment, which last year I think was $255,000. This year would be $405,000. I would like to see the board continue to 255 and not the 405.
Okay. So, Mr. Bryant or Ms. Morgan, what does that do to the EDA's budget if we go that route?
Sir, if we, we did, while we were reviewing the budget, Mr. Campbell's correct, the penny was worth 255,000. It increased to 405,000. We did make an adjustment to another line item for the EDA and reduce their budget 100,000, but they do gain through this budget process and $49,000 additional. We've reached out and talked to the EDA and looked at their budget process and what needs they have, and Ms. Saunders did send an email that was included to the Board of Supervisors for your review. Ms. Saunders is also here if you have questions for the EDA.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if we don't make a change to this resolution, this stays in effect for every budget hereafter, not just this year.
That's correct. So if it goes up or down, that's my understanding.
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna throw it out there. So if that's, and I, Mr. Campbell, I've had some of the same concerns as far as with that, because many of us weren't here, I'm sorry, when that ordinance was adopted, or that resolution was adopted many years ago. So for language purposes, well, let me preface all this by saying, number one, I don't want to do anything to tie the hands of our EDA for future economic development. That's first and foremost. However, at the same time, I want to make sure we're managing our budget fiscally as we proceed forward. I am always concerned about language when it comes to budgets and financial disbursements, how they can end up in perpetuity. That's where I think we have to be very careful, because if not, we get ourselves in a position where it's not analyzed, or we don't have the power to be able to analyze it or evaluate it annually, which I think is very important that we do that. So with that being said, not to belabor it, but if we, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that I would be okay with proposing a change, as you're putting it, to fund them at the 255, right? To keep that penny true to what the initial resolution was. However, put the 100K that was offered up back into their budget.
So level fund.
Well, I'm at the, putting the 100 back, 255, and then the 49 that Mr. Bryant's talking about, I think that's something that we need to have further discussion on. That's just my 2 points right now. So I made it 2/3 the way. We just need to figure out, we need to figure out the finish line. So,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Tucker.
So kind of playing on what both Mr. Adams and Mr. Campbell said, maybe we need to look at this and divide it in between the EDA's operational budget and the county's investment into the EDA. Maybe those need to be two separate things, okay? And I'm good with where we are now, reducing all total by 49,000 and some change, I think it was. Is that right, Mr. Bryant?
It's an increase of 49,000.
Right,
Yes.
right. So I'm good with where we are right now, but we need to get away from that a penny is this and a penny is that. And I think if you divide the two between operational and our investment, call it an investment in the EDA, you can fix that problem.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So what we would be looking at, I guess, would be doing away with this resolution and just appropriating that money for the funding of the EDA.
So, Mr. Popovich, so that was a resolution that was passed back in 2016, I believe. So we would have to vote to rescind that resolution. Is that correct?
You could either rescind it, revise it, modify it. I mean, there's any number of ways that you can go about making changes to it. I guess if you want to throw the whole concept out, then yes, it would have to be revoked.
Okay, so, Mr. Bryant or Ms. Morgan, so we funded the EDA last year at, what, 265? 255. and then there was an additional 100,000.
So the way the resolution is, there's a
I don't
transfer,
care about the resolution right now. I want to know how much funding they got last year.
225 and 220, so 445.
Or is it
Roundabout.
did they get 255 or 225?
They got
Cost of 1 cent.
255 from the cost of a penny last year in their investment line, and then they got the 220, I believe it was, in their operational line item. So this year, we reduced the operational line item from 220 to 120 because the cost of a penny went up so much.
So that was 475, right, that they got last year.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
And then, so how much would they be getting this year, like 5?
525.
Almost 525.
I mean, if there's heartache or concerns about funding the additional 49,000, then you could leave the penny where it's at and then just reduce their operating budget further. Is that right? To get the amount to 475? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. So, I guess Ms. Saunders here? Can you come forward, please?
Tracy, while she's coming up, how would that impact, or will it impact how the budget is managed?
So in the resolution, it's broke down by department totals and line items. And in the resolution, it's just a lump sum transfer total. So if you level fund between the two line items, I don't think the resolution has to be edited or revoked. In my opinion, and if Mr. Popovich agrees, then we could adopt the resolution as is. It's because they're level funded and my transfer line item would not change.
Correct.
Yes, if the essentially the lump sum doesn't change, there's no reason to make it a revision to the resolution.
So we're essentially talking about $49,000 immediately.
49,500.
And what is that being proposed to be used for?
Well, in my, in the email I sent was attorney fees, was because of the interest in Dillard. I'm having a lot of FOIA requests, I have a lot of other interests, so I'm not run that through Mike Lockaby. But also for community investment in we gave money for the Route 29 beautification, but I'd also like to increase our small businesses. We've been really concentrating on our multi-tenant building, so our small guys are getting left out. So we can't compete with Bedford and Campbell County because we don't offer those incentives for these small guys to grow here. That was one of my main things. We've just not been able to keep up with our programming. But also, back to the resolution, we came, was it 3 years ago with the resolution with the 1 penny to cover the multi-tenant building costs, and that is tied to our loan. So I don't know, that's Mr. Popovich's area, not mine, how that works, because Truist agreed to the loan because of the 1 cent funding.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Saunders.
Best day?
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman. You
Yes, sir.
said that you give money to the beautification committee.
I do.
Now, the county funds the beautification committee, so
We do, we help with the mini grants so that we can make that a larger amount to make a bigger hit. The 15,000 that the county gives, which is great, but it doesn't go but so far, so we match the 15,000.
okay.
Any other questions for Ms. Saunders?
Mr. Chairman, I just don't have much interest in dissolving the resolution or amending the resolution. I like that penny. I think it looks good for our finances, looks good to the banks, to our lenders.
Yeah.
But it also reminds this board and the community that 1 penny means something. And I don't want to see that 1 penny go away.
We use that
How we
1
use
penny.
it, whether it's operational or an investment, we can discuss that.
Yeah.
But I want to keep the resolution in place.
And you guys know, we really, we squeeze that penny till it hurts.
Right.
We have gotten a lot of grants with that penny. And that was the other thing. We want to do some Go Virginia grants to do some grading plans for our lots that are still in Avalon Commerce Center. And that's how Amazon got here, is because we had a graded lot. And so we want to continue that growth. And that helps this budget talk right now, so.
One last thing, and I know that you've got board members, and I feel the same way, that the goal should be that you all become self-sufficient.
Exactly.
And then there is no more investment
Yeah,
to the
that's our hope,
county.
too.
That's our goal.
Yeah, that way I don't have to come here every year and beg for that penny.
One follow-up question to that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If we get to that point, we're gonna have to review this again. Is that correct?
Resolution?
Where
We'll
they're
have to co-
self-sufficient.
If they go on their own next year, we'll be back here again talking about this resolution.
Correct.
So I would suggest again, we take a step now and just fund the EDA.
Okay, so you're saying, what you would like to do, what I'm hearing is basically do away with the 1 cent for economic development, but fund them
The 255,
just 255, but what
plus
about?
their operational budget.
Okay, is that less the 49,000 or is that just what they got last year?
That's level funding.
Okay. I don't personally agree with that, but that's fine. If you want to put that out as a motion, we'll see where it goes.
And I'm not trying to put Mr. Popovich on it. But I think, going back to what Ms. Saunders was saying, I think we have to make sure that with any loans that we got hanging there, to how that is hinged on that language associated with that resolution, and how that could potentially impact us.
Absolutely, sir, and definitely want to make sure that you look at the loan documentation to make sure if that was a condition of the loan, you do not want to violate that condition,
Correct.
otherwise there are penalties that are imposed. I don't have that information in front of me today, but I certainly would caution you on that one.
Mr. Chairman, that being said, I don't feel it would be good to make a motion until we have that information. And I also don't feel that we should take action on this today without that information.
Okay, board, what's the rest of your thoughts? Ms. Tucker?
But doesn't he have to put something forward for us to vote on? I mean, right now it's just talk.
Well, he didn't put anything forward.
So
right?
what's your
So,
question?
Where would you like to go with this? I mean, I don't see postponing action on this because
I don't
we're
want to
looking.
postpone anything. I
we're
don't
looking
want
to
to
an
do, I don't
adoptive-
want to do away with the penny.
We're looking to adopt a budget today.
Correct. And I think
So
we need to do that
postponing it
today.
Doesn't work, so. So there's either motion to do it, which I think we're hearing is probably not a good idea, or not. So, Mr. Campbell, I don't see us postponing this. So if you want to make the motion and see where it goes and not doing the penny, then let's see where it goes, but I don't see us postponing this part of the budget process.
The only other solution would be you reduce the operating expense by $50,000 and you still hold the penny intact. I mean, that's.
Right, and then again, we'll
That's
come
right.
back next year and revisit this again.
Right, so what I'm hearing is we're beyond the 1 penny thing, discussion right now. So now we're discussing whether or not their operating budget should be reduced by $49,000. Correct.
If the resolution stays as is. Right.
Well, there's currently no motion to, excuse me, there's currently no motion to rescind that 1 cent for the EDA, so, and I don't think we're gonna get one, so we're talking about the $49,000 additional for their operating budget. So is there anyone interested in reducing the operating budget by 49,000?
No.
No?
I'm not prepared to do that right now based on,
Okay. So, Mr. Campbell, if you'd like to make that motion, please do so, and we'll see.
I move the Board of Supervisors reduce the EDA's budget as proposed in the agenda by $49,000.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor of reducing the EDA's budget by $49,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, those opposed signify by saying nay.
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 Motion fails 2-3, so it stays at what was shown in the budget. All right, moving on. Is there anything else in the general fund budget that needs to be discussed?
Mr. Chairman. Up on visit the county administrator last week, I had some questions on some line items in the budget. I mean, as you can see, I was plenty busy. And they answered my questions, but it was one that struck me as odd. There was an anomaly in the circuit court salary line, in which Ms. Morgan, she had explained to me that in the FY26 budget, there's a number that should have been put in there that wasn't. And I think, I may be wrong, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it was like $90,000, which, if that's the case, that 2.5 just went up to 2.6.
Ms. Morgan?
In reference, when Mr. Campbell was looking at the salary line items for the circuit court, it was clear that the increase was more than 3%. When I went back to look at the budget from last year, there was a figure that should have been used and that was clearly in the workbooks, but that's not the figure that was adopted for the budget. The figure that was adopted for the budget was actually $40,000 less than the actual salaries for the circuit court's office. So based on the approved FY26 budget and the expense of the circuit court salary line, we will be falling $40,000 short in that salary line item. But that wouldn't affect this year's budget, the way it's been presented.
But it would add to the deficit of 2026, would it not? As it was adopted.
Potentially,
Yes.
potentially,
'Cause
by
we're
the end of the
still in-
year.
We're still in the budget.
Yes.
And plus because it's a salary line item, everything that goes along with the salary would be added to that.
Well, and you got to think about, we don't know what our final revenues will be either, or any other expenditure in the budget. We could fall short on some of the other expenditures that may make up for that.
Is there anything else? You had a lot of tabs on there.
I can go on. With the general operation budget that was proposed to us, and not taking anything away from Ms. Morgan and Mr. Bryant and anyone else that worked on this budget, I'm telling you, it was a hot mess at best. And knowing what they had to go through and hearing that they had inherited this, I mean, I inherited as well. I came in here November of last year and trying to catch up and looking through all this stuff, and it's difficult to follow. That being said, a lot of the reports and stuff that we've gotten from Davenport, I would even question where they got their numbers and how accurate they are. We haven't had an audit in 2 years, so as far as going out and making more expenditures on top of what we have, I don't think that is in the best interest of the taxpayers. And as I recall, when the people came up here and spoke for, they came up here and was complaining about assessment increases and tax and possible increases with the rate going up. I don't remember anyone asking us to spend more money. So I have concerns about without having audit, going out here and making all these extra expenditures that is in this budget. And it's a lot of them.
Okay, so I'll go back. Well, anyway, board, is there any other thoughts? Ms. Tucker saying no. Mr. Pugh?
I mean, Mr. Campbell makes valid points. I agree. We are in a kind of a predicament where our books are in somewhat of a dilemma or predicament we're working our way out of. We hope that that's resolved soon, but yeah, I mean, I think Mr. Campbell did hit the nail on the head. It's gonna be very tough for us to expend these funds with the back of the taxpayer.
Mr. Adams? Any thoughts?
I have plenty of thoughts. And obviously, I've communicated these through this entire budget process, and it's no need in continuing to belabor them, and everybody have heard me complain and critique, and again, I agree with everything that Mr. Campbell and Mr. Pugh has said. However, I think the struggle for me is I think we chewed on this budget. The audit piece is concerning, right? And obviously, we're headed in the right direction to correct that at a rapid pace. There's a blind component to this, and the only thing, I say the only thing, I don't want this to sound like I'm taking this for granted, but as far as the additional spending goes, is some CIP projects that we have put off for years up to this point. And it concerns me, what do we do if we continue to put this off for another year, where it's gonna end up at? I feel like we're gonna end up crossing, we've talked about that curve that we crossed over this year. Well, I think that could continue to project itself in the future if we don't deal with this, with what's proposed to us right now. So it's a tough decision, and I know I'm not making any pointed recommendations here, but I feel like we almost have to proceed in the direction that the budget that Mr. Bryant and Ms. Morgan has presented to us at this point in time.
Okay. When did we start discussing this? February?
Oh, no.
February, yeah.
We did.
Yes.
In February, and I think everyone has been concerned about the budget and the rates and the expenses, and if you recall, one of the first things I asked was, okay, what do you want to cut?
And with that
I
being
haven't
said,
got any,
with
so
that
if you
being
wanna
said,
bring 'em
Mr.
up
Chairman,
today, that'd be great.
we sat through and we cut, and if you look back.
Did cut.
When we look back into this budget, though, fire trucks, we cut, they're back in here. We asked the staff to take the contingency out, well, down to 250 maybe, and it's back up to 500 is what I've seen. So I'm a little, am I saying that wrong?
I don't think the contingency went back up.
The contingency is back at 150. It started at 500,000.
So it's down now?
Down to 150.
Okay, well, that sounds a lot better, thank you. But, with these extra expenditures coming back in here, even though Davenport had given us their best, I guess, their snapshot of the future, again, where do they get their numbers? Without audits, I feel like we don't know where we're starting from. So I have a hard time believing we're gonna get there, based on this budget. Again, Mr. Bryant, I commend you for what you've had to deal with. But for one, I don't feel comfortable with this. I wish we could go down, as Mr. Popovich said, June 30th deadline, and get this audit done.
Well, I will say that we cannot wait till June the 30th to set a tax rate. And I'm just gonna be bluntly honest. I mean, we can't do that for the sake of the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer's Office. We can't do that. It may say legally we can do that, but that's not reasonable.
That's not my suggestion. I would still rather have that audit. That's the only thing. I just can't support this.
So I guess my somewhat of a rebuttal to what you were saying, Mr. Campbell, and some of it I agree with, and, because we are going in somewhat blind. But a lot of the stuff that Davenport based their projections on were our revenue numbers that we have now, right? And they are, Ms. Morgan, if you don't mind.
Could you
I'm
come
sorry.
forward,
You
Ms.
mind
Morgan?
come back up here, because I don't want to speak out of turn either, but the revenue numbers, because you relayed this numerous times to us, is that our revenue numbers that have presented to us so far in this budget are conservative
Very-
numbers.
yes, sir.
Very conservative
Yes,
numbers,
sir.
if I remember your verbiage correctly.
Yes, sir.
So,
And she's done really well at that.
absolutely. So where we were getting, well, I'm just gonna say it, where we were getting misleading information in the past, now I feel like Ms. Morgan and her team has a very good handle on where we sit with our revenues and the projections coordinated with the information coming from the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer's Office. I don't think there's any smoke and mirrors as far as numbers go.
Not suggesting that.
No, I know you're not.
But
No,
there-
I'm not, I'm not saying that you are.
But like I said, they inherited what it was.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was almost an impossible task to, I mean, it's a budget. It's a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I've went over this, and, you know, I'm still sitting here debating on what to do and what not to do. But, I mean, I think, Chris, I mean, you make some valid points. I mean, we did go through this process. I tried to see if we could have the employees take on a little more responsibility of the healthcare costs. Well, it come to find out that wasn't, we weren't able to do it because of tax implications or something. But I would like to see, if next year we have a substantial increase, then, you know, I do think it should be incumbent upon the employees to pick up a little bit of that tab. You know, I think that's just fair for the taxpayers and fair for everyone. There are a lot of things that we do need. We gotta have good fire trucks. We gotta have EMTs on the road. We gotta have sheriff's deputies that are responding to calls. We gotta have these things. You know, I worry about our tax rate being so high that it makes us less competitive with the other localities. You know, someone's looking to move here, relocate a business, and they say, well, maybe I'll go to the place with less taxes. Because it's happening all the time across the country where people move out of states with high tax rates and move to states with low. And the locality is no different. So these are some of the things I worry about. But, you know, I think that out of just some common sense that you gotta have enough money to be able to fund the county and to put us in a good place for the future. And I don't see how we can, other than knocking off a few pennies here and there, you know, that we're gonna get there.
And I do think that Ms. Morgan and Mr. Bryant has, you know, one other thing. The whole Amazon was not included in this budget, so that's a good positive. We're probably looking to see. We may have a windfall.
Well, and again, Mr. Campbell, and well, all of us, right? And that's, I'm not comfortable with any of this, right? And I'm not being dramatic. I've lost enough sleep over this budget to, but anyway, nonetheless, I think our numbers are very conservative, and I think that's the only piece that gives me any sense of comfort. And Mr. Martin put it in, because look, I'll tell you, all of you guys have heard me say, I had a number in mind on what we need to post this tax rate at today. And I don't care how many times I've looked at that packet of information, it is no way in God's green earth, I don't see how we can get there. Hopefully we can find some middle ground on this, but I don't think we can get to where I wanted to get to. But going back to what Mr. Martin, he talks some sense, and he's right. The last thing I want to do is to set a tax rate today to where we may be able to save another penny or two, and something devastating transpires, and then we have to come back next year and have to seriously contemplate raising the tax rate again. And that would be devastating.
One thing that comes to mind is reassessments. Mr. Bryant, what is the cost of a reassessment?
Our last one was $600,000.
So I remember a board member spoke and said we should have them every 2 years. I mean, that's $1.2 million extra. I don't know if that is in this budget. So I don't know that one reassessment is in this budget. Yeah?
No?
Oh. Just, I mean, it would be greater, I mean, I would think it would be, if we put a little something, maybe that continuously, or something like that for the next reassessment instead of taking it all out at one time, in the future.
That was one of those things that we were gonna talk about. We were gonna put a study group together and look at taking maybe a regional approach, an in-house approach, and look at all the options that are available. But I agree with you, we can't do 5 or 6 years.
Well, I think the issue with the reassessments, if you wait 6 years,
Then you get sticker shock.
then you get sticker shot, but everybody has low taxes for 6 years, right? And if you do it every 2 years, then it's a moderate increase, I would hope, but you're still repeating this scenario every 2 years. So it's good and bad points, and I think Ms. Tucker's right. We should probably have some working group to look at that moving forward. But for right now, we're dealt the hands, we got the hand that was dealt to us, right?
Yeah.
So we have the 6-year reassessment. We have the general fund resolution, which I have a question, Mr. Bryant. I do not see the CIP resolution in here,
Ms. Morgan, that's built into the general fund resolution, correct?
built into the
Yes.
general fund. Okay. So if we could, I would like to parking lot that for a moment and go start discussing the school budget resolution, because I think what may or may not be done to that is going to have an effect on other things in the budget. Is that acceptable? Yes, no?
I agree.
Everybody good? All right, so let's talk about the school budget. Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir. We built in the school budget the additional $1.9 million that was requested from the school system.
Okay. And that was to cover, as I remember, there was 900,000 in capital expenditures, and then there was $1 million for things such as adding employees to, I believe, Amelon and Madison Heights Elementary, which are 2 of our underperforming schools. Is that correct?
Central and Madison.
Central
And Madison Heights.
and Madison Heights, not Amelon. I apologize. So, and then I believe that would cover a 3% raise for them in lieu of a 2.5% proposed by the state and some other items. All right. So, board, what is your thoughts?
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryan, I got this sheet from you when I was up here last. I'm looking at the numbers now, and what you have in the resolution does not match what I have on here for, I guess, the increase of 1.9. That this came from the schools.
Yeah, this document you're holding is from the schools. Ms. Morgan, in the resolution, we have $18,837,589 in local funds. I think what Mr. Campbell's pointing out is the document that the schools gave us early on that's slightly different.
So Kim and I, when we were doing the resolution, is she still here? Where is she at? Oh, there's other local funds that do not come directly from us. So that total in the resolution is a summary of what we would be given, and that includes the 1.9 and other local funds that they have built into their budget, that she could better answer on what those include. I hate to put you on the spot.
afternoon. Yes, we have some other local revenue aside from the county's appropriation. That is going to be your bus transportation. We get a contribution from the localities towards the Laurel, for the adult education, the regional center, and as well as, and I'm just drawing. I'm going to have to look at this. I apologize. I'm sorry, you caught me off guard. That's okay.
Take your time.
So those include the fuel reimbursements. We get reimbursed from the county for the use of the fuel. We have non-resident tuition, just little things like that that are still considered local, but they're not coming from the board.
Like 835,000.
You also have, because when you're looking at the total, you're not looking at just the operating budget. We have the adult regional. I have to guess a different section. The adult regional has,
Mr. Conich, I have this form, I don't, you recognize this?
that looks like the required local match form. Is
Yes,
that
that's what it
correct?
is.
That's the one I'm seeing 18 million.
Oh, okay. I'm answering a question that you're not asking, so I apologize.
And that is different from what's in the resolution for
I-
proposed funding by $835,000.
I asked you how do we get to the total funds, because you had other local funds under the advertised budget, I didn't know what those were for.
Right.
And so the other local funds plus what we give is what's different in the resolution. Because what's in the resolution is the total of our local funds plus the other local funds.
Right, so you have the adult education, they have local revenue funds of $50,000. You have your child nutrition program. That resolution has multiple budgets. And so the resolution had the entire school budget, including those other items. So when you're looking at the state, local, and federal, it's not just looking at your operating budget. Am I not answering this?
Can I say that?
Yes, sir.
But that doesn't change the school's request of 1.9 million, correct, Ms. Lakonich?
That 1.9 million is in this figure. 18,002,000.
I see what you're looking at.
So, Ms. Morgan, what did we fund the schools at last year, locally?
I got it right here. It's $16,402,089.
And $89.
Yes, sir.
And the schools are requesting an additional
1.9.
1.9 and some change though, right?
But in order to build out the resolution, what Ms. Lakonich is saying is that what Mr. Campbell's pointing out, Ms. Lakonich, correct me if I'm wrong, is there are other local funds that aren't just coming from us, that are coming from different places to come up with that number.
To come up with the
Yeah.
18,083,67.
Right.
So all of the local funds
Right.
that Mr. Campbell has on that spreadsheet is not encompassed into that number. So it's another $835,000 coming from other local fund components to make to this number. Is that right?
Correct. That's what because when we advertised their school budget, in the school budget, there was a breakdown of our local funds, and then it was a line that said other local funds. So points of the resolution, we combined those two figures together and all of the federal revenue together and all the state revenue together to get a total operating budget of revenues equal expenditures.
Does that make sense?
So the money comes through the county anyway, that's why we're doing a resolution for it, correct? The money flows through the county?
Correct.
Okay.
So then I'm looking at, like child nutrition, where it was, they have a $2.95 million budget. 300,000 of that was local, considered, it wasn't state or federal funds, it was local funds. We have the adult regional program, and that was 50,000. And then we have a miscellaneous, around 60,000, just for the reimbursements, things that come in locally. And then we have the 70,000 for the fuel costs, the non-resident tuition, and then the county's contribution.
Let me ask you this. So last year, you said the local funding to the schools was $16,402,089.
Correct.
Right? Did that include these other local funds? No. Okay. So with the 1.9 additional request, that would put our funding at $18,302,089.
Correct.
But in the resolution, it says $18,837,589, which is $535,500. So I'm guessing more. So I'm guessing that's these local funds that you're talking about? Where is that $535,500 coming from?
You talking about from last year?
Right here.
So
Sure.
I know when you
Says
sent
we'd
the
be given-
resolution to be updated, the one thing that Ms. Morgan and I discussed was when we were, and I wish I had the thing in front of me, is that if you say what the increase is, but then you add up the differences in your state, federal, and local, it did not tie back to the budget.
Correct.
So we discussed it and wanted to give a true picture where all the numbers tied back in together, but I think that may have backfired.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. So in ours, is a $500-some thousand difference, because the local funds in the resolution minus
So last
what-
year's-
well, it's actually 18,302.
So,
Okay. So last year's, we gave the schools $16,900,000 last year.
Not 400?
That's what I'm trying, I mean, I'm being told two different
Well,
things.
this is what the resolution last year was. Kristen just pulled it up. Last year's resolution was at $16,944,516. So, but the local funds, the match was at 16.4, so we're still tracking at that $500,000 difference based on the differences that Ms. Lakonich is pointing out.
okay, so if, I'm sorry. So we have the county contribution at the 18,352,089, and we have the tuition for non-residents at the 5,500. We have the child nutrition at 300,000, the 60,000 for just the miscellaneous that comes in throughout the year. We have the fuel as well as the adult education's 50,000. That with the child nutrition and all, those numbers total to be the 18,837,589 that is on the resolution.
Now, on this, this form, at the 18,002,000, it says that we would be funding at 115%, but with another $835,000, that number would also be increased, correct?
No, because that doesn't, that spreadsheet only lists our contribution, correct? So the
Correct.
percentage is just based on our contribution.
Just our contribution?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, let me ask it a different way. Let's use the word contribution. How much did the Amherst County Board of Supervisors contribute to the school system last fiscal year?
$16,402,089.
Okay. So if we contributed 1.9 million more, that would put you at 18,302,089, right?
What is in this request was the 18,352,089, because the increase that came to the Board of Supervisors was for 1,950,000.
Well, the resolution I'm looking at on my screen says $18,837,589. So I'm just trying to figure out what
That's
the
what
right
was
number is.
That was passed in our budget.
We're still only being asked for 1.9 million.
Yeah, but if we adopt this resolution, I want to make sure the number is correct. Right?
Let's get the additional things that Ms. Lakonich pointed out that are other local funds that aren't coming
Then
necessarily
break
from
them
us.
out
Okay.
as other local funds. Because people tend to forget, and then next thing you know, it's another $500,000, right? Oh, we didn't mean they were other local funds. We meant they were.
What are, somebody give me a definition of local funds. In my mind, it means county money. That's what it means. Not state, not federal. Local should just mean county.
Tax dollars.
Huh?
To me, it means tax dollars.
Exactly.
County tax
Exactly.
dollars.
These other, yes, these other things to me are kind of like user fees, the adult education class. If they're paying you for other things, they might be that separate than our contribution. Because if you have more, that number will be more. If you have less, it would be less, right? Yeah, no, okay.
Who is the they? You say they are paying. Who's they?
The people using the service. That's what I'm understanding. So just say it again. Let's just, for sake of discussion, say it's $535,500 worth of other local funds. Where does that money come from?
It comes from parents that are paying for, the child nutrition services. It can be, we get money for badge replacement. It's not state. In our world, we have to have everything designated as local, state, or federal. And so the local in the school world is the county appropriation, as well as anything that's coming in from the public that is not state or federal funding.
Okay. So you get that? So I'm saying, I want to make sure we're not confusing what the local taxpayer dollars,
Local government,
local government is funding.
but see that some of this could be business, correct? Business donations?
That'd be correct.
Okay. You see what I mean? Because
Yeah,
the
because
way,
that number could be a moving target. Well, ain't no could be. It is a moving target.
Where's this $500,000? That's what I can't figure out.
because
Why
if
the
you look,
difference?
if you look at the resolution that was put in our packet,
Right?
it says $43,108,433 in state funds and $18,837,589 in local funds.
Right.
So to me, if I was just reading this off the cuff, that means the county, this board, is funding $18,837,589.
Right.
Which is not the case, because what we funded last year plus 1.9 million is 18,302,000, which is $535,500 less than what is in this resolution.
So are we saying that $500,000 plus are these ancillary contributions? Is that what we're saying? I find that hard to believe.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
So if I may, Mr. Martin, for example, we pay for the fuel, and then you guys reimburse us for what the county uses, so that'd be one thing. So you're still only giving us the amount you said, you're correct. The other funds are funds that come in to us that flow through you. So you're not essentially giving us those extra funds. Well, you would be for the fuel, but that's fuel that the other county's using, if that makes sense.
I understand that completely, but is it right around $535,500? Guess it has to be, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't just agree with me. I'm not the
She's looking now.
Yeah, we have the other funds that were miscellaneous. Those are like the badge fees and just little things that come in, like your bus rentals. You have the fuel reimbursement that the county reimburses us for their fuel use, which is $70,000. And we have the non-resident tuition at $5,500. We have child nutrition's local at $300,000. And we do have the discrepancy of the $50,000 between the 1.95 and the 1.9.
So, okay, so the big one right there was the child nutrition.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask.
So
Go ahead.
So how does that money get in there? You know, I'm just confused. Because where's that money come from? It's got to come from the taxes collected.
Doesn't it come from the state?
No, she said that would
No, they get state funds, they get federal reimbursement.
State nutrition, where's that money come from?
It comes, I'm not sure, what am I?
Yeah, so the money that's coming through you, again, for what parents send in is flowing through you.
It's lunch money? Is that what you're saying? $300,000 is kids' lunch money?
Okay, so, Mr. Holden, I guess help me with that, because I was under the impression when it comes to school, and we may be getting, but I think we gotta get in the weeds. On child nutrition, because obviously I've got kids that go to both schools, but I was under the impression that the federal government programs were pretty much paying for all
Yeah.
meals now.
But there are still extra things that students buy.
Oh, it is, okay.
They
What
get
falls
so
into that category?
They get a lunch free if they want to buy ice cream or if they want to buy
Okay.
chips or an extra juice or an extra
Okay,
milk.
okay,
And they do caterings for some
Yeah,
things.
and they do caterings for things and different.
okay. Now, the catering, would that come from your culinary, your CTE program?
No, sir.
That's completely separate? Okay, all right. That's a whole lot of Nutty Buddies.
I used to like Nutty Buddies quite a bit.
Feel like I'm a Nutty Buddy right now, to be honest with you, Mr.
All
Martin.
right, so just for sake of discussion, let's just set the 535,500 aside for a moment, right? So level funding would be $16,402,089.
Correct.
Does everybody agree on that?
Correct, yes, sir.
They're requesting 1.9 million additional, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it 1.9 or is it 1.95?
1.9 is what was requested.
That's what's in my budget, yes.
1.95 is what our
Okay, 1.9 it is. So, board, what is your thoughts on the 1.9?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
in a previous meeting, we had asked staff to provide us with a cost of educating student in Amherst County, and I think they had told us it's $15,500. Is that correct?
Talking to her, I
Per
apologize.
pupil expenditure.
It was around $15,000. I would have to,
Now, also, in a previous meeting, that you stated that your enrollment's down. I can't remember that number. but
13 students.
13 students. And so that was a reduction in state funding.
Quite a bit, right?
13 students was, I don't have that sheet with me. Do you have that?
we get about 9,800 per student.
And that's just from state, Kim, or is that state and federal?
That's just state.
Do we get federal funding per student? Okay,
So you said $9,800?
Like it's factored into some of the grants.
Yeah, it was 127,400 was the figure that was reduced by the 13.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Chairman, Lynchburg City Schools had recently done, Ms. Tucker and I was just throwing some numbers around one day, but they had recently done a citizen academy in which they give information out that VOE per pupil amount is 82.89, which is almost half of 15.5. I'm just curious why the cost is so much different. It's almost twice as much.
Were they providing the cost of to the localities, or was it, because there's a local, state, and federal per pupil, so.
Right.
You can probably make more sense out of this than I can, if you would like to look at it.
Yeah, I think they were providing the actual local contribution, not the total of federal, state, and local, but I'll wait for their expert opinion.
If I recall, when we were talking about that, they also didn't include the monies that go towards, what's that term, Mr. Houghton? Not special ed, there's an acronym for it.
Sped?
Huh?
Sped?
Yes, SPED. They didn't include that, and we did, and they didn't. Or they,
We'll look at the state, so there are a couple different ways to slice this as far as per pupil expenditure as well.
Now, not to pick on any school, but we do have one that has done really well, elementary school has done really well, but the numbers are really low. Doesn't that also throw if you tie that in with the rest of the division, doesn't that spike the cost as well? Because of the low amount of, because I think they did a study also in Lynchburg with one school, because of the amount of students that was going there, they voted to close that school. But I think they repurposed it instead.
As the county did several years ago with Pleasant View.
Right.
I'm trying to go on the state websites to pull up because that's a comparison from all, I think it's Schedule 15. That's actually a comparison of all the school divisions, but I can't get it to pull up.
Mr. Chairman, we seem to have gone off in several different directions. Could you get us back refocused, please?
Yes, ma'am, I just want to look at something real quick. So, well, I had asked for this information previously. So if you looked at the total per pupil, Amherst County, $15,964. Does that sound right? Well, let's talk about Amherst,
I know
15.
we're trying to match up what he had.
What you were stating, you had said Lynchburg was at,
I think that's the local contribution.
It is, well,
Well, because I'm looking at some information from 6 years ago, and it was at $13,000, $14,000 per pupil.
well, the table I'm looking at,
8,800.
this is fiscal year '24, Lynchburg spent $18,024 per pupil, where we spent $15,964.
And that's from what year?
24. Nelson, according to this, spent $21,767.
Nelson's higher.
Yep. Appomattox was 13,755, Bedford 14,013, Campbell 13,956, so on and so
So
forth.
in comparison to Lynchburg, we're 8882, sir.
for the local,
Comparing.
A lot closer.
for the local, yes, sir.
So there's, again, different funds that are put into that.
All right, so, to get us back on track, base budget last year was $16,402,089.
Correct.
You're asking for an additional 1.9 million, which would put you at $18,302,089.
Correct.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the $1.9 million right now. So, and again, my understanding, the 900,000 was for previous CIP items that wasn't funded last year.
920, yes, sir.
And the other million was to cover things like raises, additional positions.
The LCI change as well, over 500,000.
Okay, so that was the million. All right, so if the county funded that million, just to be clear, from the way I'm looking at it, nobody loses their job, nobody gets a pay cut, anything like that, because we're actually saying, we can't tell you how to use the money, but my expectation would be if you came to the board and asked for additional $1 million to add positions and to give the raises at 3%, then we wouldn't be cutting any positions, right?
Yes, sir.
Does everybody agree with that? Does everybody
Sorry.
understand? I want to make sure that when we leave out of here, if we fund the additional 1.9 or the 1 million, that it's not going to go out in the public and people are going to be saying, oh, well, they didn't give us the 1.9 or they didn't give us whatever, and now we've got to cut positions. I don't want to hear that, okay? Because I've heard rumor mill of it, and that's teetotally illogical to me. Everybody, you agree? Okay. So we're talking about the 1.9 million. What is your pleasure, board?
But I thought the $900,000 or whatever it was, 9 point whatever, I thought that was for delayed CIP and we were not going to fund that.
That's what I'm asking you.
All right, but I think there's another component that we need to clarify.
Okay.
Because there was discussion about two different numbers, the 1.6 versus the 1.9. So what was because I've heard different stories about what that $300,000 delta was intended to do. And I've heard anything because that was the difference between a 2% and 3% raise, because that was the first I'd heard of that. Then I heard that it was the difference between the two different budgets, the governor's budget versus the Senate budget. So what is it?
Well, unfortunately, right now, we are still based on the governor's budget, and we have found out that we probably will not receive a final budget until June, which really puts us in a hard spot.
And I understand that. And Mr. Adams, I've asked, I think at least 3 times for clarification that the 1 million, I'll say it again, the 1 million was for extra positions to cover the raises and some other items. Hey, you're shaking your head. You've told me twice I was correct. Now there's head shaking.
Sorry.
The 900,000 was for CIP items.
Right. So, to be clear, 920,000 was the CIP last year that we pulled from our budget when we level funded, okay?
Okay.
So we try to do that. And then the 560,000 was the LCI change. And then we had for the students, and then we had about 300,000 was for the extra positions.
And then the 900,000 for CIP, we pulled it from CIP to fund operations.
Right.
Right,
Last year.
so it's not to cover CIP items. We pulled it from CIP to cover operations. That was kind of what we had talked about last year with the board. So so for us, when you heard the 1.6, right, that's to cover that 900-some thousand plus the local composite index.
Plus the LCI change, yes, sir.
So if we do not fund the $900,000 and we only fund the $1 million, are we going to hear the same thing? Well, we had to beg from Peter to pay Paul, and by the way, these positions got cut or this didn't get done? Are we going to hear that?
Well, if we are only funded 1 million, we're gonna have to go to the board and make some cuts.
Correct.
When you say we're going to have to make some cuts, does that mean personnel cuts or does that mean you don't do some CIP project?
It'd be a mix.
It would be a mix.
Right, it would be a mix.
We would look at limiting the personnel cuts, but there would definitely be personnel cuts.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that that was clear.
Okay, because that's why I've been asking multiple times what it means. Because what I recall seeing in your presentations is that 900,000 was for CIP items.
We pulled that from our CIP last year to fund when we were level funded and we didn't get the 1.2.
Then in all your presentations, the 1.9 million should have said, shouldn't have listed school buses and painting and all that stuff. It should have said 1.9 million additional positions and covering the expenditures, positions that we took our CIP money for, right? This is the first time I've hearing this, so. Okay, so the 1.9 million would keep all your positions intact, allow you to add additional positions.
Yes, sir.
Cover the, 560 for what?
For the LCI change, which is the locality's ability to pay based on how the state funds us.
All right. Everybody, is that clear as mud to everybody?
Basically, the state's saying that you have the ability to pay the $560,000 more to us from local funds is what.
I get it. All right, so we're talking about 1.9 million. And why that's important is because at 1.9 million, our tax rate is at 58 cents. All right? We can't reduce the tax rate and keep everything the same, right? So we're back at the cuts. So we gotta hammer this out. What is your pleasure on the school board request?
Mr. Chairman, I'm very willing to cut the school board budget. I am. But I do not want to see student-facing jobs lost. I don't want to see anything that's going to not improve the scores at Central and Madison Heights like we had talked about. If you want to cut some positions and they're here in this building, feel free. You know, I'll help you. But I just want to be clear, I don't want to see any instructional assistants or any of those folks' jobs cut, because I don't think you have to. It's my personal opinion.
I agree with you, Ms. Tucker, 100%, but we have no control over how they spend it. If we provide it, they can spend it any way they want to. And that's why I brought it up. And if we cut it from 1.9 down to 1 million, I feel like they're going to cut student-facing positions, and then the board is going to be blamed for it. And I have said this.
Well, then we're being held hostage, Mr. Chairman.
Well, that's why you have that, absolutely. And that's why I've said, I have never seen in 6 years on this board like a real breakdown on the school budget. I don't know if you got fluff in there or not. You know, I would assume you do, right? That's just my thought. Now, do I think you guys give a quality education to the students? Absolutely. I went through Amherst County Schools. I sent 4 of my kids through Amherst County Schools, and they're all doing well. But is there probably some ways y'all could cut? Yeah. You know, but we're stuck here having to fund everybody, right? And y'all aren't the ones getting beat up. School board's not getting beat up. We are, because we're the ones that have to set the tax rate, and we're the ones that everybody complains to, all right? So again, Ms. Tucker, if you're willing to cut it, how far are you willing to cut it?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I thought that I was willing to cut it the $900,000 because I thought that was CIP. Because it was my understanding she had asked that several times, I'd asked that several times, and that seemed to be, through this very tight budget year, a way that we could get through this. And I asked the chairman, I've asked the superintendent, acting superintendent, you know, can you just bear with us through this year, because I firmly believe with things that are going on here in the county that next year's going to be better. I believe that. And that's all I'm asking for. Help us through this year. Don't cut any student-facing positions. And I would like for you to give us your word that you're not going to do that.
Just know that we would not be able to add those positions at those 2 schools.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say it again.
Just understand that we would not be able to add those 2 positions, or those 6 positions and the other 3 positions to the schools.
Add three? I mean, is it
So we
6
wouldn't
or
be,
nothing?
we wouldn't be cutting, but we wouldn't be able to add those to Central and Madison Heights. So no one would lose their job.
So let me put this another way. Am I hearing the 1.9 million is really what it's taken to keep you whole because of you used that 900,000 last year to basically cover positions or other costs, operating costs, and basically the locality's ability to pay has increased, and the raises that we'd like to give the employees?
I want to be clear, and I'll try to say this so that everyone understands, and Ms. Laconis, you correct me. 1.6 makes us whole. The extra 300,000 was for the positions at Central and Madison Heights and the extra CTE positions, correct? That is correct.
So the 1.9 never got you the capital items anyway? Or did it?
Yeah, because the 1.6 had the 920 coming back in.
Okay, let me put this another way. I'm here all night. All right. At least for me, and I think I can speak for most people on the board, what we would like to see, okay, is we would like to see all the instructional people maintain employment. Heck, I'll go further to say I'd like to see everybody maintain employment. And
Yes,
that
sir.
costs X, okay? Personally, I like to see everybody across the board get a 3% raise. Now, if 2.5% comes from the state, that's great. We're only funding 0.5 on the rest of it. I would like to see the new positions at those schools to help with student achievement and making sure that they're successful. That's easy to get behind, right? At least for me it is. On your CIP items, I'm asking you to wait until after, because typically, correct me if I'm wrong, the school CIP is funded out of savings from at the year end, right? All that money goes into a fund, and right now we don't know what that is because our finance staff is working very, very, very hard to get all that stuff rectified so we can get our audit done. And I know I'll get skewered, but guess what, guys? We've got to get the budget done, okay? Everybody understand that? We got to get the budget done, right? Unfortunately, we don't have the audit completed, but the staff is working on that. Once that's done, you'll know how much money you've got in savings, right? Right? So if it comes back and you guys have 500,000 in savings that you can put to CIP, or $1 million, if it's more, great. If it's less, come back to us after that time. What I'm asking you, because I keep on hearing different things, I keep hearing different things. Out of that 1.9 million, are there CIP things that could be deferred until the audit's done? That's what I'm asking. Because
So
I don't see increasing the tax rate by a penny to fund one-time costs that are typically
Right.
funded out of
So
savings.
let me explain one thing to you so that we understand. So some of the items may be viewed as CIP items. All right, such as school buses.
Okay, correct.
Okay, so with a number of buses, we have 57 buses on the road every day. We have 75 buses. We technically on the state formula, we should be buying 4 to 5 buses per year. Okay, we have 2 in our operational budget. That is what we have right now. So you may think about those as a CIP item, but we have those in the operational because they are recurring. We need to buy at least 2. Well, actually, we should be buying 4 per year, but I only have 2 in this budget. So hopefully, if we have savings at the end of the year on fuel or other things like that, we may be able to purchase the 3rd bus. So even though I understand what you're saying. These are technically CIP items, but they're in our operational budget because we need to purchase those every year or we will fall further behind, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Explain to me the other CIP items.
In the operational budget, we have been trying to do painting for one school. We have been trying to buy our white fleet, which is vans for the students that we transport to Lynchburg, to the regional programs, and other things. So we do have some items in there that we could pull that, for all practical purposes, are CIP items, but in our budget, they're operational, if that makes sense to you. Is that-
Board. What's your pleasure?
I want to get to 56, let's figure out how to do it.
Well, I think we're on the-
$800,000.
Do what?
That's a reduction of 110,000.
18.
I mean, maybe, Mr. Chairman, we've got to see if there's a will to get to 56, or if anybody wants to leave it at 58 and just plow through. I'm a 56 gal.
Well, I'd like to be at 56 myself, but again, how are we going to get there? That's what we're discussing.
I think where I am struggling with the school system budget, and Dr. Houghton and Mr. Childers are not, I'm not blindsiding them with this, because I have verbalized this numerous times. And again, I don't want to continue to drag this out, but I think I have spent a gang of time doing my homework on various aspects of the school system as well as ours. I think there's room that they can make up some money easily. I'm going to reiterate what all of us have said up here, that none of these cuts should impact our students, because some of the stuff that I hear when our PTO is having to fund for art supplies for teachers at the middle school, instead of it being in a budget, in my opinion, we got a problem, right? When I hear our PTO is having to purchase microwaves for our cafeteria at the middle school because they only had one, we got a problem. However, as Ms. Tucker said as well, I think there's room for improvement in this central office. I want our kids to have a great education. Several years back, prior to my arrival back on here, the previous board voted for a $2.5 million annual increase, and that went in perpetuity. That's no questions asked. And whatever we do today, I'm gonna make it perfectly clear, I may be the last man standing, but I'm gonna vote nay, that whatever we do today will not be in perpetuity. I made that clear with something else we were talking about earlier. I think it was the EDA, if I remember correctly, Mr. Campbell. I don't think we do anything in perpetuity. Everything has to be analyzed because people get comfortable. It could be us, it could be the school system, it could be anybody. And in this day and time, nobody needs to be freaking comfortable, because we become complacent and we become less accountable. I'm not prepared to fund at 1.9. Last year, we level funded last year, correct? And then the hate mail that we got, it was fantastic.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. One of my neighbors sent me some hate mail, and I thought she was just passionate. Then I found out it was like a school system coup. I mean, they created this document that's just broadcasted out. I don't do well with that. Because again, I think somebody used the language up here earlier, we're held hostage. We can't tell you how to run a school system. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna be held hostage. And I'm not gonna have it used against me because we didn't fully fund when I firmly believe, and I am committed to say that I think there are necessary cuts that can be made to help us meet where we need to be. Last thing, and I'm gonna close with this. I'm with Ms. Tucker. I'm at 56 pennies. I think some of it to get us to 56 cents will have to come from the school budget. Us as a board, we need to make a decision on how much it's gonna be.
Okay. Any other comments? Is there a motion on the school board budget?
So to get it down to 56 pennies, we're looking to reduce this by $810,000, correct?
Well, a penny is 405,000. So yeah, that's very good math, Mr. Gaines.
So,
$810,000. So that would be 1.11 million. Is that what I'm hearing?
So this resolution, as it is, the way it's stated,
All of them have to change. All right, that's why I didn't act on the general fund.
we'll make a motion to, we just make a motion to approve a certain amount of funding or an additional to.
yes, sir.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So is there a motion to fund, I guess it would be
Level fund plus
16,402,089 plus 11 million?
What's that total?
17,502.89.
17,502.89.
We do the 1.1.
Oh, dang. What is it, Jeremy?
I was just gonna say, why don't we work on what additional you wanna give them?
17,502.89.
I think where we're at right now, we're at 1.9 million minus $810,000, all right? So 1,900,000 minus, that's $1,090,000. All right,
above level funding.
above level funding. So,
Mr. Chair, not to muddy the water, but if we don't do it tonight, at some point, we'll have to come back with a different resolution for the pass-through money, because that does have to be approved here, even though it doesn't come directly from you.
now we're gonna fix that too, Mr. Childers.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're taking into account for
So
that.
that would make it $17,492,089.
All right, but Mr. Chair, should we put strict numbers on that pass-through funding? Is there any way, Ms. O'Connor, can we add verbiage to just approve the local pass-through funding without putting strict numbers on it, or do you feel like we have strict numbers for that?
I mean, I do have the numbers that go along with that.
Okay.
I'm really regretting that I changed the template because I did cause more confusion, I think.
That's
I was
okay.
just trying to get all the numbers to come back to the overall budget, but I can still, include that and then maybe just add the phrase that separates out the actual county contribution,
So-
if that would suffice.
So, Mr. Adams, the way I would suggest is I would change the resolution to 43 million, blah, 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 in state funds and $17,492,089 in local funds and $535,500 in local pass-through funds. And that makes everything total. So that separates out the pass-through, and it makes it very clear the amount the board is funding is $17,492,089, which is $1,090,000 additional, which should allow us to get to 56 cents. Is that right?
I'm not trying to muddy the water, but I mean, I'm willing to, I feel like we can find $10,000 and then just do the flat 1.1 million to the schools instead of the $1,090,000.
Okay.
But I don't know how to word this resolution. I don't know how to word
That's
this
where I'm
motion.
struggling.
I mean, because this is, I mean,
We don't, yeah. If you just give us a motion on what number you want to fund the schools, your staff will come back in and fix the resolution.
You'll find $10,000 to make it 1.1 million.
Yes, sir.
We'll have $10,000.
And what was the number we were gonna use for the pass-through?
The number I had was $535,500.
All right, so you just need a motion of what our contribution's gonna be, then the other information will be put onto the resolution.
Y'all can figure that out, the pass-through money.
Yes.
But the pass-through money will be broken out.
Yes.
but will we have to bring that back, that formal document to vote on it?
If your motion is to amend the resolution as discussed here today with just setting what the local contribution is and then instructing staff to make the necessary revisions to the pass-through information, you do not have to come back and do it again.
I like that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Popovich.
Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to take a stab at this.
Okay.
I'm glad you are.
Okay, well, listen to me closely, and don't let me mess up. Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion to amend resolution number 2026-11R for school funding in the amount of $1.1 million to also include pass-through of unassigned funds of $535,500. Also referred to as a separate local match.
Okay, but our direction to staff is to replace that 535,000 number with whatever is accurate, right? But what is clear, the Amherst County Board of Supervisors is funding $17,492,089, which is what we funded last year plus one, actually it's $10,000 more dollars than that, which is, yeah, 16. Which is $17,502,089.
Yep, that's right.
So,
Ms. Tucker, if you specifically amend the motion to be based on the number that Mr. Martin just said as the direct local contribution, and then instruct staff to break out the contributions made by others, that should be sufficient. I think Mr. Bryan understands what that means, and they will break it out in the language in the resolution.
Mr. Bryan, are you following all this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Tucker, would you entertain adding the language to not be in perpetuity?
Well, it's never in perpetuity.
Well,
Well, one board
No,
can't
we
bind,
can't say
one
that.
board can't bind another anyway, Mr. Adams.
well, I mean, yeah, it did, because that $2.5 million is stuck for years. That the local.
But we
that the
vote
board-
on it every year. We didn't have
Well,
to.
this is true. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
But I mean, I
understand
don't
where
feel
you're at.
strongly about that one way or the other.
That's fine. I'm okay.
Okay. So are you,
I'm good.
well, I'm trying to get to Ms. Tucker's
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry.
So is your motion to fund the schools at $17,502,089?
Yes.
And then the other numbers are not really regulated by us, the state, federal, and the pass-through. Staff will put those in and bring them back to us,
And that was a 532, 500.
or
Right.
amend it based on. So that's your motion.
That is my motion. Mr. County Attorney, does that,
That should be sufficient,
All
yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay. All those in favor? Is there any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I vote aye. Are there any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, first, thank you for passing that. I don't envy the work that you guys have had to do. It's, I understand the struggle. But I did want to address a couple of things that you mentioned, if I may. One, I felt like our board has been very transparent with this board. We sat down with several members, opened up our books, and literally went line by line. So I think that's important for the community to understand that we did that, at your request, and we want to be as transparent as we can.
All right,
with
thank
that.
you.
So, and then we certainly, this board's not holding you guys hostage, so, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Like
Mr.
to honor
Childers.
that, we thank you for your
Thank you.
contributions. Thanks.
All right, moving on, let's talk about the tax rate. So,
All right, do we need to approve ours? Or have we already, did I miss, have we already done
well,
it?
we could go, well, yeah, we can do that. Okay, sorry. So let's go back to the general fund. Yes, very good. So the general fund, the contribution to the schools, which is in this, right, should be shown at $1.1 million, not 1.9 million. And that will reduce the overall total general fund expenditures. So do you know what that number is?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
The additional for the schools?
No, the total general fund budget.
We'll reduce it the amount that you just did with the schools.
Everybody good with that? So the budget's being reduced, the general fund budget is being reduced 810,000.
800,000, isn't it? Didn't you say we find 10,000?
Yeah, and reduced by 800,000.
You're correct, thank you, 800,000. All right, is there a motion on the general fund budget? With the
All right.
reduction of
Yeah,
800,000?
so Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the general fund budget based on the amended change of a decrease of $800,000 in local contribution, i.e. Amherst County tax dollars to the Amherst County school system.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Nay.
One nay or two nays?
One.
One nay. Okay, motion passes 4-1. All right, moving on to, now the only thing left is the tax rate, correct?
Correct.
So, from our previous discussions, instead of 58 cent, we should be able to reduce that to 56 cent. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any motion or discussion on adopting 56 cent?
I'll make the motion that the Amherst County Board of Supervisors establish fiscal year 26-27 tax rate is 56 cents per $100 of assessed value,
Okay, there's a motion.
and $3.45 per $100 assessed value on personal property.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All those opposed? So you voted aye?
I did.
did we,
I have a constituent told me, take what I can get.
I got you, bro.
Mr. Martin, Chairman, did we have to also, in our motion, include those other taxes?
Well,
If you're moving to approve the resolution as presented, and the only amendment which was referenced in that motion was moving from 58 cents to 56, that should be sufficient.
All right, just for clarity, Mr. Pugh, was it your intent to adopt a 56 cent tax rate and everything else is written.
Yes, that is my intent. 56 on real estate and everything else is the same.
As written. So everybody good with that?
Mine as well as my vote.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Campbell.
I'm here for.
Wow. Tyler? Mr. Creasy, I'm so sorry. Smart Scale Project, Town of Amherst.
Yes, Chairman, Board, good to see you all.
Thank you for staying with us. I bet you wish you had been before all that, don't you?
I tried.
You got something against the town, Jeremy? You prefer? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Creasy.
Board, good to see you all today. You're being asked to approve Resolution 2026-7, which relates to the Town of Amherst Smart Scale project submitted by the county. As Chairman Martin just mentioned, we do have the town manager, Ms. Sarah McGuffin, here if you have any specific questions relating to that project. A general summary of it, though, is the project includes marked pedestrian crossings, curb extensions, and sidewalk improvements to enhance visibility and pedestrian safety in the town of Amherst. The drafted resolution for the county is attached to your item report, as well as the approved resolution from the town of Amherst. You may be asking, why is this coming before us? Counties must submit smart scale applications on behalf of towns, so that's why we're having to seek this resolution out from you all. The rest of the information can be found in your packet. Do you have any questions for staff?
Board. So since you stayed, do you want to say anything, or are you good? I will say, I think this is pretty cool that the town is looking at doing pedestrian improvements. So I appreciate that. So I'll make the motion that we adopt Resolution 2026-7 as presented. Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Thank you so much. Don't leave, just stay. All right, the next one is Mr. Creasy, Smart Scale Project for the CVTC Connector Road.
Yes, if you recall, back in February of this year, staff brought to you 3 different alternates, providing a connector road from Route 210 to the Central Virginia Training Center property. After discussion with you all, as well as input from the EDA, it was decided to go with alternate C. This required the least amount of earthwork for the project and preserve more of the existing buildings on site, which in return was the cheapest of the 3 options. So staff has applied for this smart scale project, and now before you is the resolution to go along with that application. Just pieces of information for you. It's approximately 2,000 feet long. It contains 1 travel lane in each direction, and of course an intersection of Route 210. Do you all have any questions for staff?
Board, is there any questions? Is there a motion?
I move the board approve Resolution 2026-8R.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Campbell. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you both very much. All right, moving on.
Mr. Chairman,
Ma'am.
I might suggest that since Senator Deeds has a big interest in that
Training center?
road improvements there, that we ask our county administrator to update him on our action.
A very good point. Thank you, ma'am. I have people calling me already about the taxes. All right, I'm gonna do that. I'm so sorry. All right, so Auditing Services RFP Evaluation Committee, and that is Ms. Woodard.
Yes, sir.
Just came right on up.
I
didn't
did.
you?
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, how are y'all?
Wonderful.
Good. The purchasing department is working with the finance department. We're about to put out a request for proposal for auditing services. This is gonna be for fiscal year '26. We are in contract with Brown Edwards for fiscal year '25 that we're waiting on finishing up. But we would like to have this contract in place, so as soon as we're finished with that audit, we can go ahead and move forward with fiscal year '26. So we would like a board member to be a part of the evaluation committee so that you guys have a say in the process. So we would like you guys to talk amongst yourselves and select a person to be on that evaluation committee.
Oh, Ms. Woodard, am I saying that correctly? I've been known to butcher my own name. In the past, has the board been on RFP evaluation committees like this?
I was not here last time we did this process. I know we try to have you guys included in important steps like this, and we think this is a big one since we're kind of going through this process currently and having some concerns. So we would like your input if you would like it. If you don't, then obviously that's your choice.
I'm not saying we will or we won't, but the board ultimately has to approve it anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
So my experience has been, and I've been doing this a while, is that when you put a board meeting on a staff committee like that, then staff tends to maybe not say all the things that they'd like to say.
Right.
That's my suggestion to the board. Personally, I don't think a board member should be on it, but if one of you want to be on the selection committee, please, by all means, do it. I think there needs to be a separation between the staff and the board, but anyway. That being said, thank you so much for the offer. Board, do you want us to tell you now, or do you want us, when are you going to do this?
We would like to do it the next month, so tonight would be great.
Is there anyone that would like to be on it? Ms. Tucker, I know you look like you want to do it.
Are you kidding me? No, but I was gonna nominate Mr. Campbell.
He'd be a good one. You want to do it, Mr. Campbell?
I guess I could, yes.
Okay, is there anybody else?
I'm not gonna fight him.
Okay, be nice, Mr. Campbell. All those in favor of appointing Mr. Campbell, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, there you go.
Thank you, board.
Be careful what you wish for. All right. Could have got me, it'd have been 100% worse. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Liaison, county attorney. You got anything?
Mr. Chairman, to save you time, I have nothing.
Thank you so much. All right, boards, commissions, committees, planning commission, District 1 vacancy, Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir. The board's being asked to appoint a District 1 member to the Planning Commission. There is currently a vacancy on that position expiring August the 31st, 2028. Staff did advertise the vacancy in the New Era Progress on April the 2nd with the closing date of April the 27th. We received one letter from a gentleman named Robert Baxter. His information is in your packet. We received that on April the 7th. We did not receive any other applications, so there's only one person that's interested in that position, and he is within, you may recall the problems we had last time with the Planning Commission not having someone in district. He is in District 1.
Is Mr. Baxter here this evening?
He's not. He couldn't attend. He let us know ahead of time he could not attend.
Could he attend the next meeting?
Do you know if he wasn't sure he could be able to.
Is he going to be able to attend planning commission meetings?
Yeah, that's the next really important question.
I read his
It's very impressive.
CV, very, very impressive.
Yeah,
I've talked to a
absolutely.
number of people about him and got good reports.
If I may, and I wouldn't want to speak for Mr. Baxter, but I do believe he has a daughter graduating this year, so that might be why he is unsure of attending the next meeting for you all.
Okay. So I've heard decent things about Mr. Baxter too, and it is my district, so I would just recommend that we appoint him to the planning commission for the terms outlined in the resolution, et cetera. Is there any discussion on that?
Could we get Mr. Baxter to come in and speak with the board at some later time when it's convenient to him?
Okay.
Ask him to come in, because I've never met him. I'd like to meet him.
Okay. Or would you like to hold off on appointment?
Well, Mr. Martin, I don't like delaying anything.
Yeah,
But,
I'm okay to.
but sitting on the planning commission, I would like to, I'd like to put a name with the face. And again, I think we talked about this several months ago where we wanted to remain consistency with any commissions or boards as far as being able to ask the applicant the questions, so.
You are correct. I will withdraw my motion.
I'm sorry, I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to
no,
be
no, no.
difficult.
No, you're not.
Well,
I think I do know Mr. Baxter, but sometimes I can't remember my own name, so. So is everybody okay with waiting until Mr. Baxter can come in, which may be June?
That would be fine. This doesn't begin until what, August? His term would begin in August?
well, but is this for the vacated
is for the
seat
vacancy.
for Mr. Four?
Mr. Ford, yeah.
Just to fill the rest of the term, which I believe is 2 years.
So how many people do you have on the commission now? Six.
6 right now, and this is our.
One vacancy. So it's not like you can't continue business.
No, the only thing,
All right, well, please ask Mr. Baxter to come in, let us know when that is suitable, and we'd like the meeting, okay? But his resume is very impressive. All right, moving on, we are at citizen comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on. Matters from the member of the Board of Supervisors, Ms. Tucker.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Campbell?
You have something, actually.
All right.
Since the board adopted this budget and set a rate, I would like the board to look at possibly adopting this legislation from the state that allows a discount for early payment of taxes.
For what?
It's 15.2-1201.2. Now, I've read through it. I don't see where it has any guidelines for a locality, like when is considered early, how much you could discount it. I guess it's all up to the locality. But I think in this circumstance, with this, everything that we're facing right now, I think this would be a good way to help some of our citizens.
All right, Mr. Popovich, could you look into that state legislation, you and Mr. Bryant, and bring it forward?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Campbell?
That's it, thank you.
Mr. Pugh?
I have nothing.
Mr. Adams?
I have nothing.
So several months back, when we were first getting into the budget, we were dealing with a very difficult situation with a wedding venue and neighbors and this and that, and we talked about doing a noise ordinance, right? Now that the budget is complete, could staff bring that forward? But I believe let me put it this, I believe our noise ordinance is antiquated. I don't believe it's based on decibels, so I don't know how you, Sheriff, I don't know how your officers actually enforce it. So, board, I'm looking for, well, I guess if you bring it forward, we'll have to vote to move it to a public hearing, right? And then if you absolutely hate it and don't want to do it, we'll just vote it down. But that's what I'm requesting, okay? All right. Anything else? All right, with that, I'm going to make a motion that the board enter into a closed session for the discussion or consideration of the deposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body related to property located in Election District 4 pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A3 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, and a closed session pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A1 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, to evaluate the performance of the county administrator. That is the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Are there any opposed? We are in closed session.
Cut
All
your
right.
phone off.
Huh? Ms. Tucker, the meeting's not over yet.
Look, I can wander around and say, aye or nay.
I move,
Thank you, sir, please.
I move that the Board of Supervisors certify by a recorded vote that to the best of each board member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session.
Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Campbell?
Mr. Campbell votes aye.
Mr. Pugh?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We're out of closed session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.